Ladies and gents, boys and girls, let me be the first to welcome you to game week. SEC baseball is officially here. Opening day is set for this Friday. But before we get there, we've got a lot to get into and a lot to discuss here on this Monday, February the 9th. This is Glue Guys, SEC Unfiltered's bi-weekly SEC baseball show, the best SEC baseball show on the internet. I'm Chris Phillips. He is Anthony Ranaudo. And today, we are locking in officially our predicted order of finish for the 2026 baseball season. Who do each of us have winning the league? Where does your favorite team rank? We'll get to that more in just a moment, guys. We're going to talk everything from top storylines, favorite sleepers, bold predictions, you name it. Consider this your official 2026 season preview. Also, Golden Spikes Award preseason watch list did come out in the last few days. 16 SEC ball players were named to that list. We'll break down each of the 16, talk about, again, our favorites, who are our picks to win the Golden Spikes, and who from the SEC has the best shot to do so. Again, guys, we appreciate you all tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at Underdog. Download the Underdog app today. Use promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Once again, that is the Underdog app, promo code SECU for $75 in bonus entries today. Like I mentioned, this is Glue Guys, SEC Unfiltered's official SEC baseball show. I am Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, my co-host, colleague, partner in crime, 2009 national champion, former big leaguer, Anthony Ranaudo. Anthony, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Really, really excited for this one. We got a little bit more preseason talk before we finally get to the games on the diamond. But this one, my friend, I am stoked for. We're locking in some picks. Inevitably, we're going to trigger some people. Inevitably, it's going to happen. But excited to break it down with you, my man.
It's opening week, dude. I'm so excited. This is it. We are probably going to piss some people off, of course. You know, people love some opinions and love to give us their opinions about our opinions, you know. But yeah, no, I'm surviving the cold. I saw some people in the chat talking to me about how they don't know how I've survived winters up in Michigan. You see it. I'm wearing layers, you know. I'm trying. It's like 5 degrees today, but life is good. I just got to play catch with a kid that's going to Virginia next year on a baseball scholarship. Brother Rice's #1 pitcher here in Michigan, so that's really cool. Life is good, man, and we get to chop it up and talk baseball.
Yeah, really excited. First things first, I want to get into a couple of the comments. I was telling you this before the show, Anthony. You see my guy Chinook up in here. Chinook, I want to make a very clear point to you. So, number one, we were on time yet again today. We have not been late yet. I also want to give myself a pat on the back really quickly, Anthony, because not only were we on time today, but you might recall the first 2 shows, I was in North Carolina, so we were on Eastern time, so I almost even gave myself a little bit more of a cushion. This show this year, I'm now on Central time. So not only are we not going to be late, we're not going to be late when this thing's starting at 11 a.m. Central time, no longer noon Eastern. I guess technically it is noon Eastern, but I'm not in that time zone anymore, nor are you, being in Michigan. So, hey,
no,
listen, not only are we on time. You said what now?
I'm Eastern.
Oh, you are Eastern. I didn't know Michigan was Eastern. Okay.
Detroit,
well,
there's parts. Well, there's parts. I think there's parts. It's kind of like Tennessee.
Okay. Well, then disregard that point I just made. But the point being, if we're late and we're not going to be, it's not going to be by my hand. And also, again, I'm on Central time now. So you know what? Chinook, why don't you put those seeds in your mouth and suck on them? How about that?
No!
How about that? You can, yeah. How about that? How about that?
This is baby. I like it.
I'm telling you, this is going to be an all season long battle between Chinook and I. I refuse to be late to this show, or any show for that matter, but this one especially. This one especially.
Are we 3
He
for
says
3?
known LSU hater. Yeah, this was a fun weekend, of course, as Anthony knows, because I dropped my head coach rankings. Jay Johnson's one. How are you going to leave LSU out of Omaha? Oh, it just made for an entire. I'm like, I don't know if LSU fans.
I had to drop that nibble in there.
I know you did. No, I know. I don't know.
Blood in for the Sharks. That's all I did.
I don't know if LSU fans are more or less irritated with me now. Honestly.
Yeah, I know. Oh, probably more. Yeah,
probably more.
That's good. You just poked the bear a little bit. That's good. We want the LSU fans in the chat. If they're shitting on you, that's good.
Oh, we do.
We'll play good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, we're going to do it all season. Something to note, by the way, before we get going, David Speaks does point this out, Anthony. Tennessee has set their weekend rotation: Friday, Tegan Kuhn; Saturday, Max; Sunday, Blanco. So we'll get into that, of course. Yeah, we're going to start getting that a lot.
Interesting.
He's going to start dropping their weekend rotations. Yeah, that's going to be something certainly to follow. My guy Chinook also points out. So we added, Anthony, the familiar with one Mookie Betts. This is his ball and bat co.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a Mookie Betts inspired. I've had this for years, and I'll typically bring it out for baseball season. But little ball and bat co chain.
Fun fact: Mookie Betts, number 9 hole hitter in my starting lineup on my squad.
I was gonna say, I'm think you're pretty well familiar with one Mr. Mookie Betts.
Yeah, Mookie. He was batting 9. How crazy is that? He's batting 9.
Yeah, a lot has changed, obviously. A lot has changed. Yeah, we've got the baseball helmet in the background. It is SECU AI. They can't believe it that it's back there. Even, by the way, you can't see it. We've even got the pearl. We've got a pearl in the background. You can't really see it though.
SEC ball.
Yeah, that's a fresh one. That's a fresh one. Nice. Listen, hey, Anthony, because I love you, I won't tell you where I got the ball and what logo is on the ball. So, yeah. I might have snagged that one at batting practice down in Gainesville last year.
Wow. Very nice.
I say snagged. The story behind it is sick. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I'm literally behind the gator watching BP, and a guy hits one that kind of bounces up, and it does this thing where it bounces behind the gator, and I just one hand just snag it. I'm putting that one in the pocket.
Yep, I'm keeping it. It's mine now.
I'm pocketing that one.
Sticky fingers right in the pocket. I like it.
Yeah, I'm pocketing that one.
Hell yeah, you deserve it.
Yeah. John Bro says pick USC East last. The game has passed Pulmonary by. Oh, come on. No, we can't throw the Pulmonary shade with Ranaudo on the show.
We can't do that. We've got to save the Pulmonary shade. We got to save the Pulmonary shade.
You got to save the Pulmonary shade.
Let him go play some games first, and then we can have some stuff to actually talk about. We're not going to speculate negatively about my guy, PM.
Yeah, that's why I didn't ask Ranaudo to rank the head coaches, and I did it because I don't mind.
I did see you put him on there. You put him on there. That was love.
Well, of course, he's on there. He has to be on there. He's not last, but he was much lower than he would have. Heck, he's much lower than he was last year, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree.
Either way, that's neither here nor there. All right, we got a jam-packed show, Anthony. Lots to get into. I don't want to spend too much time. Again, guys, we are taking your questions, your comments. Would love to hear from you all. Always, it's always a blast taking you guys' questions. Obviously, I know this will be a big one for y'all to engage and let the banter officially begin. Before we get going, guys, really quickly, a couple quick housekeeping items. I am working on some YouTube community features for the community, some stuff like emojis in the chat, building out a Discord for folks who want to join it, just so we can keep the banter going. So, again, stay tuned for more details on that. Also, guys, we'll announce this week. And, again, if you've been paying attention, you already knew this, but the SEC Unfiltered Tour will officially get going for baseball season. I believe that'll be next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend we'll be in Jacksonville. Anthony, you're going to be in Jacksonville. LSU, Notre Dame, Indiana.
Central guys, let's go.
Jacksonville College Baseball Classic. Yeah, we'll both be down there February 20th through 22nd. So looking forward to that. That tournament's going to be awesome. Then we're off and running. And also, guys, mark your calendars this week because Friday Night Spikes is officially back this Friday night. We'll call it 8 o'clock Central. I think it's just going to be Anthony and I on the first show. We're going to get kind of our feet wet a little bit. This is everybody's first. This is opening weekend for everybody. So we'll get things rocking and rolling ourselves, but we got some amazing guests lined up. We've got a certain SEC baseball head coach that I talked to yesterday that agreed to come on the show.
Whoa!
That said he'd be down. So I know that Anthony's got some buddies that are interested. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very fun season. We've got plenty of time for all sorts of characters to take the airwaves, but really excited to get Friday Night Spikes going. It obviously was a huge, huge hit last year, and excited to bring it back. All right. With that being said, Anthony, let's get into it. Our 2026 SEC baseball season preview, if you will, starting with our predicted order of finish, which will, of course, open the floodgates to everything in all of this conversation. So, without further ado, Anthony Ranaudo, Chris Phillips, this is our predicted order of finish. All right, we're gonna start at
this is my first time seeing yours.
We're gonna start. Yeah, this is your first time actually seeing mine. We're gonna start at the bottom and go up. Obviously, those tuned in via Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you can see the graphic that is on your screen. For those listening via podcast, I am going to walk through each of our selections. So starting with Anthony Ranaudo, starting from the bottom. At number 16, Anthony's got Mizzou, 15 South Carolina, 14 Texas A&M, 13 Tennessee, 12 Florida, 11 Ole Miss, 10 Vandy, 9 Oklahoma, 8 Arkansas, 7 Auburn, 6 Kentucky, 5 Alabama, 4 Georgia, 3 LSU, 2 Mississippi State, and number 1 and winning the league for a second consecutive year, the Texas Longhorns. My predicted order of finish starting at 16. Number 16, I've got Mizzou, 15 South Carolina, 14 Oklahoma, 13 Vandy, 12 Alabama, 11 Texas A&M, 10 Tennessee, 9 Ole Miss, 8 Auburn, 7 Georgia, 6 Mississippi State, 5 Kentucky, 4 LSU, 3 Florida, 2 Texas, and number 1 and winning the league, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Fun fact, Anthony Ranaudo, this is the second consecutive year that I have picked the Arkansas Razorbacks to win the league. I was pretty damn close last year. They finished second. Let's open up the floodgates, Anthony. Let's start the conversation. By the way, I did notice on this graphic, you did have one last-minute change that did not get incorporated. I do apologize. You have Kentucky 5th, Alabama 6th. So that is one that
all good. All good.
Eric switch it. Again, he's got a lot on his plate. So it is what it is. All right.
Yeah.
All good there. Talk to me, Anthony. I'll let you start. Texas winning the league again. What made Texas the pick? I'll tell you this. I think the league is as wide open as it's ever been this year. You know, we saw the coaches preseason poll, and they picked LSU to win the league, and they picked Texas second. Anthony, I got to be a little bit honest with you. I thought the LSU pick, I think what it says is nobody really knows who's going to win the league, and it's wide open because you're kind of just going off of last year to pick who's going to win it this year. Again, and I'm not saying that LSU cannot win the league because they can, but it just feels very, very wide open at the top. And it feels like this every year, but there's 4 or 5 teams, Anthony. You told me, hey, I'm picking them to win the SEC regular season. I wouldn't think it's crazy, but you go with Texas. Why were the Texas Longhorns the pick? What makes them the pick to go back-to-back, which I don't know how many times that's happened, but I have to think it hasn't happened all that often.
Yeah, and that was what I was actually a little hesitant on was, preseason is so speculative. So for me, this is all under an assumption and just kind of a belief system that I have. And for me, right, we talked about it last show. I'm big on coaches in preseason rankings. Like I'm gonna go off of and like hypothesize on what I think is gonna happen based on the track record, and the coaching is usually what we have the most to go off of, right? So for me, it's Schloss at the top and Nolan Cain, right? You have the best recruiting coordinator in the country, and I think Schloss would be one of the best CEOs in the world, right? Because I think he manages a team well. He recruits and gets some of the best coaches and then manages them well too, right? So and then you look at the product that they have on the field. They're returning the freshman of the year, right? And he's going into the Friday night spot, which is a bit of a question mark. But I always, think that that's a great foundation. You got Mendoza, who I think could be the SEC player of the year. So I think they have all the right pieces. I think, but for me, my list is mainly off of coaching respect and pedigree and how I think their team lines up with their coaching ability. So that's what I think this is. And like I said, I think Texas is primed for it with the depth that they have and then the coaches.
I like the Texas pick as indicated by having them second. I agree with you on a lot of the fronts. Again, I think the lineup is going to be much improved, from a season ago. I think the pitching staff's as deep as any. I think you and I have some very interesting variety in our order of finish here. Because I have Arkansas winning the league, and you have Arkansas finishing 8th. All right, talk me through this one, Anthony, because let's keep in mind, Arkansas has not finished worse than 18-12 since 2018. They haven't finished worse than 18-12 in the league. They are very obviously going to be worse than 18-12 if they finish 8th in the league. Talk me through this one. And I'll just tell you for me, with the schedule they have, they should, at minimum, in my opinion, win 20 SEC games. Like I just like there's no such thing as an easy slate. But Anthony, they don't play LSU. They don't play Tennessee. They don't play Texas. They don't play Texas A&M. And everybody they have difficulties at home. You know, they got Mississippi State. That's at home. They got Florida. That's at home. They got to go to like Auburn, Kentucky, Oklahoma. They play Missouri. They play South Carolina. Like, they got the bottom half of the league. If they finish 8th, something, in my opinion, went terribly wrong. But what is it for the Hogs that you think? What are your question marks for Arkansas that will put them at 8th?
Friday night starter, right? We talk about how do you say his name?
Gabe Gackle.
Yeah, Gackle. Right. I think if he's the Friday night guy and he is the dude, then yeah, I agree. But I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, the reason that I had them 8th, they were a product of some of my other teams that I kind of believe in this year. And so I think what we talked about the other day, right? Somebody got to lose games. And so for me, I think it's the things where you said they got to go to Auburn, they got to go to Kentucky. I have both of those teams a little higher maybe than other people think. So for me, those are the question marks, or not really the question marks, but then the question mark comes in when you don't have that Friday guy, and then those weekends that you're talking about where the schedule is easy, then they become a little bit more labor intensive, right? If your Friday guy only goes 3 and he's a question mark, now your bullpen is taxed a little differently. And maybe Kentucky and South Carolina weekends only have 2 wins, maybe 1, maybe you lose a weekend. So that's kind of my thought. And then honestly, dude, you know how hard it is to keep winning 18 games in the SEC? I just want to put my hand up and be like, that's going to be hard to do again. So I don't know. It was those factors for me. I just didn't see them getting to the win total because of the other teams that I have in the league winning more games.
It's okay, Ranaudo. This is your LSU bias coming out. It's fun.
I hate Arkansas.
I know you're not fond of the Hogs. We get it.
I hate Arkansas. I do have the utmost respect for Arkansas, though. I literally respect the Hogs, and I respect Dave Van Horn so much, but I fucking hate Arkansas.
There you go. We just lost all of our Arkansas viewership for the rest of the season.
What are you talking about? I said I'd
no, listen.
I respect that, Dave Van Horn.
Listen, I got Hogs fans. I got you. Hey, Woo Pig, I got you. It's all good. It's all good. Let's talk LSU, Anthony. Obviously, again, we got a big LSU listener base, as you would expect. You've got LSU finishing 3rd. I've got LSU finishing 4th. So for everybody who thought that LSU is going to fall off the map or be terrible because I didn't have them in Omaha, that is not the case. I don't think, Anthony, we're going to get a lot of pushback here from LSU fans.
Yeah.
Because LSU doesn't I don't feel like, and they very well could win the league, by the way. Let's not. Yeah. They very well could. That's not really their MO, though. Like that's not typically what LSU does. I mean, they didn't even, the years they've won the national title, they finished 3rd or 4th in the league.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, I'm sure that's one of the goals. You'd love to win the regular season. But if any year proved to us that that's not the end-all be-all, Anthony, it was last year. Texas wins the regular season. They get knocked out in the regional. Vandy wins the SEC tournament. They get knocked out in their regional. LSU does not do either of those things. They win it all, right? So, that's what you're judged on at LSU. For me, though, Anthony, why I had them 4th, and obviously I'd love to hear your, analysis and thoughts on this Tigers team. I know you're very familiar with them. I just think there's going to be some bumps in the road in replacing a Cade Anderson and an Anthony Ianson. I do. I think you have tons of talent that is not even up for debate. Here's the thing, Anthony, if it all clicks, if it all comes together, if everybody's ready for the moment and everybody balls out, heck, LSU might not lose a baseball game, but you know as well as I do, not every question mark is going to break towards the positive. There's going to be some guys, there's probably going to be a guy that starts the season like 0 for 20 that we thought was going to be a big-time impact guy. There's probably going to be a starter or a reliever or just a pitcher that he's going to get shelled inexplicably. Like, it's going to happen. It's baseball. Again, I don't think 4th at all or 3rd for you indicates at all that we expect LSU to take some massive – I mean, if you're finishing 3rd or 4th, you're probably still winning, depending on how the top does, 17 to 18 games.
That's what I was going to say. I see LSU finishing 17 and 13, 18
and I think
12,
also,
like
too, they do have a gauntlet of a schedule, especially the back half. So my big questions, Anthony, they do come on the mound. And I think, too, some new pieces in the lineup. Listen, like I hear everybody telling me how much better this year's team is than last year's team. That's great. You can be better on paper. But you just, like, you're replacing a Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson, a Bear Jones, an Ethan Fry, a Danny Dickinson, a Michael Braswell. What those guys meant to that ball club cannot be overstated. So I think anytime it's everybody goes through it. It's why it's so hard for a national champion to get back to Omaha, because you're inevitably going to be replacing some key core guys on your ball club. And anytime there's that much turnover, there's going to be an adjustment period. Again, it's not like I'm picking them to finish 8th. I've got them 4th. You got them 3rd. Just thoughts on LSU.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think the lineup is going to be better. I think we're going to hit for more power. I say we. I think they're going to hit for more power. I think they're going to slug more this year. But what you say and what we keep beating a dead horse about is Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson were the top performing 1 and 2 starting pitchers in the country last year. So I think that's what maybe there's more talent and more upside on this pitching staff, but those guys actually have to go perform the way that Cade and Anthony did, right? So, and then going back to where they're finishing here, again, finishing 3rd in the SEC is giving you a national seed probably, right? At 18 and 13, depending on how you perform in the tournament. But Jay Johnson has clearly shown his style of coaching. What matters is the regional, the super regional, and the road to Omaha, right? He has made it known that he's not going to try to win the SEC tournament. That is built to get ready for the postseason. And I think that the schedule and, the SEC regular season play is just another example of that. Jay sets out to win every single game. And if you do things right over the course of the year, then a nice regular season championship is what you have to show at the end. But that doesn't mean shit. It does not mean shit. Like, you want to be playing right at the right time. And I think Jay truly understands that. And that's what he is more about. And so he's less worried about the optics. And that's why, for me, talent wise, they might have the best talent. And they might be the best team in the SEC. And they might win 21 games. But I also don't think that they care as much about winning 21 versus 18 and being in a good position entering the postseason.
I think Jay has shown, to your point, Anthony, he is a guy that's going to tinker and experiment as much as anyone, because I agree with you. I think he understands it's not about winning a game in March or April or even early May. It's about winning the big one in June. So, for example, he'll put Bear Jones at third base. He'll put him at third base. He'll sacrifice a midweek game just to figure out what he's got.
That's what somebody just said in the chat too, right? Is like, Jay understands the big picture. He runs it like professional baseball, right? When I was in professional baseball and I was in the minor leagues, they didn't give a shit that I had 6 shutout innings. They wanted me to be healthy, and it was all part of a plan. And I got taken out at certain pit times, and then I pitched at certain times, all because it was part of a plan. They wanted me to win games in the big leagues, right? And that's kind of the same way. The college coaches, in game number 37, we're going to try some shit, because in game number 65, it's really fucking important,
And I agree. I will say one thing you said I agree with. I do think the lineup, assuming all these guys click and come together, I think by the time we get to SEC play, we are probably looking at LSU's lineup up and down, saying it is better than a season ago. Because to be fair, I mentioned guys from that lineup last year. Bear Jones was a big-time impact guy, but you could argue he was a little inconsistent, that the strikeout would haunt him at times. I mean, Michael Braswell loved the kid to death, and he was a factor defensively, but he didn't get a hit for like a month. I mean, really,
LSU
he didn't.
He
at one point,
they pitched
right. At one point, he was like 0-50. I mean, legitimately. Daniel Dickinson, kind of same thing, had some big swings, but they can definitely be better offensively. If you notice with my selections, though, Anthony, my top 3, and I guess Arkansas is less of this because they do have questions on the mound, although I would argue, Anthony, it's Arkansas. They're going to pitch. I don't know who the hell they're going to roll out there past Gackle.
Right.
We know
they'll find guys because that's what
pitch.
they do. Yep.
That's what they do. They're going to pitch. But my other 2, Texas, and then I got Florida, who we need to have a discussion on Florida, because you got them 12th.
That's
our
biggest gap, I think.
I'm telling you, those top 3, I'm like pitching. And Florida, listen, I almost put Florida at 2. If you're telling me Liam Peterson and Aiden King all season long, and they got this kid Cooper Walls on Sunday, and you got the Sanford kid from UCF. I think Florida is going to be as deep on the mound as they've been in quite some time. They've got the best 1-2 punch in the SEC. They have the best one
you're not wrong, but somebody's got to coach those motherfuckers up. Somebody's got to lead them. And I just think that there's some question marks there. I'm telling
you, it's the Kevin O'Sullivan revenge tour, Renato.
We'll see. I hear you. But
Sully's coming for fucking blood, my friend.
Yeah, well, Sully always comes for blood. Let's be honest. But let's call a spade a spade. He always coming for blood. But he also, there's question marks. The water is muddy. It is muddy. And that's why I have them at 12. They have to, Chris, I will take my hat off and I will sit here and say, Kevin O'Sullivan, if we're halfway through and the Gators are cruising, again, I don't think it's a preposterous, a crazy thing to say that they're going to dominate this year and they're going to pitch it. Cause I absolutely could see it. They have the stuff. It's just leadership matters to me. And that makes me nervous. That's all.
Renato, I will give you $100 if they finish 12th or worse.
Wow, let's do it.
We can virtually shake on it. Yeah. We can virtually shake on it. I will give you $100. Here's the thing: they started 1-11.
Let's do a wins total because I feel like finishing.
Here we go. Now we're moving the goalposts. Now we're going to move the goalposts.
12. I like it. 12th or worse. I love it. I'll put $100.
Here's what I'll say: they finished 1-11, or excuse me, they started 1-11. In SEC play last year, and they finished 10th.
Yeah, but don't you think that's a little way. Hey boys, we started 1-11. Oh no.
They're not going to bro. They open SEC play with South Carolina. We will get to the bottom of the league in a moment.
Hey Chris, what happens?
They're going to start better than 1-11.
What if they lose that series opening weekend?
Well, that'd certainly be concerning. I mean, dude, it's in Gainesville. Yeah, they better not lose that one. I mean, yeah, something went wrong if they lost that one, no doubt.
Yep.
Hey, they got a big one into this month. They got Miami. That'll be a big test for them at Miami. That's a big test for them. That's a hell of a rivalry on the diamond, especially down there.
Yeah, and their schedule, we talked about their midweek schedule. That's when you're in a slippery slope too, and things are going bad. And if you start losing some of those midweek games, that's when I'm like, oh boy, I'm telling you. Let's just see. Let's see what happens. I'm telling
you again. I love it. I love it. I love the stark contrast. I got them 3rd. You got them 12th. Hey, listen.
That's a big gap.
Hey, Renato, you don't want any. You're selling Florida. That's fine. I'm over here yum, 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 yum. Give me all the Florida stock. I'll eat it up. I will eat the Florida stock up. Do not be surprised. I'm telling you.
You're eating that bad food shit that Mike Tyson was telling people not to eat.
I'll tell you right now, don't be surprised when Florida is going to Baton Rouge the last weekend of the regular season with the SEC title on the line. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that's
Sullivan's job's going to be on the line that weekend.
No shot.
All right, that was intense. That was intense.
I will.
I take that one back.
Listen, I hope that Florida LSU in Baton Rouge is for the SEC crown because I'm probably going to go to that one. There's a good chance I might end up at that one. So I hope all the stakes are there.
That would be so fucking fun.
Dude, that's going to be intense because I know Florida and LSU don't like each other, and Kevin O'Sullivan's an intense motherfucker. I know that weekend's going to be toxic.
I'd take $100 loss for that weekend and those vibes.
Indeed. All right. So, anyways, you and I, big. I will tell you this too on the Gators. Best 1-2 punch in the SEC. I think offensively they've got some guys that are some unknowns. But that I think they're going to be better swinging the stick. They're going to be better because they're going to be healthier. Knock on wood. They're going to be healthier. They can't be as injured as they were last year.
I do have a question for you because I had it in my notes. What do we got on reliever named Josh Rittenauer? You know that name at all?
I have heard about him. Yeah.
So he made some noise in the fall, and I was just reading some notes and stuff. They said he was up to 100 and he had a 48% whiff rate. That means half of his pitches are swings and misses. That's nutty. That's a crazy stat. So again, those are the little things that I look for where I'm like, ooh, okay, that could be an outlier where they have a shutdown guy at the end of games or something, that's a game changer.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, they are going to pitch. I'm telling you right now.
Stuff. They always have the arms.
They are going. Dude, if I'm going to say something that's maybe a little too bold. If they live up to their potential, we could be talking about Liam Peterson, Aiden King, like we were talking about Cade Anderson, Anthony Ianson. They've
Also
got
agree.
that kind
I
of
agree.
shit. They've got that. Now, I'm not saying they're going to, because Liam Peterson he's been a head case. Aiden King's still a young guy. They've got that kind of shit, though.
Here's what I will say.
Here's
what I will say. I will say this. I think either you and I are going to be right. Like, I think it's you're right, where they're going to be like, damn, their dudes pitched and they figured it the fuck out and they won 40 something games, or it's going to be like, wow, shit fell apart and like it went bad.
And it could go the other way. And it's a big season, like we talked about before, for Kevin O'Sullivan, because they've had lackluster regular seasons back-to-back years. Yeah, they made Omaha in 24. And I mean, obviously 23, they made it to the final and lost to LSU, but they had a great season then. But, back-to-back regular seasons that have been really, really lackluster for their standards, they need they don't have to win the league, but
they need a good showing.
Getting off to a better start, finishing probably around that 17-13 mark, maybe getting to an 18. They need that. I think they need that to feel good about where they are and obviously where they're going. We're essentially talking top storylines here as well, Anthony. Let's jump to Mississippi State. They're a big one, obviously. They're a team everybody's going to be talking about. We got some discrepancy here. You got Mississippi State finishing second in the league in year one of Brian O'Connor. I've got them sixth. I will admit to you this. I am prepared to be wrong on Mississippi State, and I'd be more than happy to be wrong. I am being a little more conservative. I know they have dudes everywhere. We just posted a clip this morning of Kyle Peterson talking about it on our show, talking about how loaded they are. And I mean, O'Connor's a Hall of Fame coach. He's a legend. I agree with all of the points. Anytime you got a first-year head coach, though, I'm just wary. I'm like, if I was doing a preseason top 25, which I did not, I probably would have put Mississippi State 12 to 15. I wouldn't have put them nearly as high. I mean, I've heard some guys talking about they could have been my preseason number one team. I mean, I feel like we're getting a little out ahead of ourselves. Brand new club. They brought in a lot of new people. I know they're loaded. And maybe after the first couple weeks, I'll be like, you know what? That was silly. They very obviously are one of the best teams in college baseball. I'm going to go a little more conservative. They've got a tough schedule, too. Now, they got a lot of them big series at the do, but they got a tough schedule, right? You obviously feel really confident. I'm not even saying you're crazy, but I'm going to throw it out there, Anthony. I'm admittedly going a little more conservative on Hail State in year one of Brian O'Connor.
And look, I totally get it, right? We're talking about coaching. Like, that's what we're talking about. And I've admittedly said that, like, some of my teams are at the bottom or in the middle bottom area because of the coaching question marks this year, right? With Florida and Tennessee and Texas A&M, right? But it's kind of why I have Mississippi State so high, is because, like, the way that Schloss handled things last year, it's like, to me, it's a similar situation. Like, they have a very strong returning team. Brian O'Connor went out and had the number 3 portal class. They have a very, very good incoming freshman class. I think they might have the number 1 incoming freshman class. They have the number 1 prospect that I've seen in college. Like, I think this kid is getting, like, I feel like he's flying under the radar right now in the sense of how good I think he is. And then, like, I think that's what says about their team. Like, that kid, I think, on a lesser team would have been, hey, they have this stud freshman coming in that's like, hey, there's some question marks because he's their Friday guy and we're building around this freshman that we don't know yet. We know he throws 100, but that's not what we're saying. Like, this kid is like, we're going to ease him into the rotation. He might be a back end arm for us, like, where there's not pressure on him. For a lefty that throws 100, that was asking for $12 million out of high school, not to be in the starting, like. So we got some real dudes in this rotation. We have some real bats. You have Ace Reese, who is, Golden Spikes player. Like, I just think they have the right concoction, and I think Brian O'Connor is the right leader. And I think he could do something the way that, like, Schloss did last year at Texas. So that's kind of my thought process. And I think Mississippi State baseball is ready for that kind of stuff, right? They want a coach to come down there and buy in and bring them back to royalty in college baseball again. So I think all the energy's there for it.
It's a place, Anthony, that should win, no doubt. I think we can all agree with that. I mean, when you got facilities like they have, when you invest in the program the way they do, and it's essentially your number one sport on campus. Let's call it for what it is. Really excited, I will say, to get a firsthand look at the Dogs end of this month in Arlington. And then they open SEC play, Anthony, at Arkansas. So we're going to find out real quick who you are. We're going to find out. Hey, y'all remember, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I think Hail State, we're going to have to talk them through that SEC opening weekend. It's like, hey, guys, if you lose 2 of 3, that means you didn't hire the right guy. This league is just tough. It is what it is. There weren't road trips to Arkansas in the ACC for Brian O'Connor. So not taking anything away from him, but this is just a new challenge, if you will. So, again, I don't hate your pick. I agree with you. I see my guy, by the way, Blake Ruffino in the chat. I appreciate you tuning in, Blake. Yeah, can they swing it? Can they swing it consistently enough? I mean, they've got a lot of new pieces. And when you're led by Ace Reese offensively, that's a really good place to start. Pitching should be a strength. But, again, I just think there's a lot of question marks. So, again, like I said, I'm admittedly going a little more conservative. I want to jump here, Anthony. Again, for those that are wondering, Anthony, your pick was actually Kentucky finishing 5th, Bama 6th, which is funny to me because I was betting you I'd have Kentucky higher than you. We actually have Kentucky slotted in the same spot. And we had a question earlier in the show about Kentucky. Why is Kentucky so high? You and I are both very, very bullish on Kentucky. Very bullish. I think Nick Mingione is one of the best coaches in the league, certainly one of the most underrated coaches. And I think they're going to be filthy on the mound. The hitting, they're going to be typical Kentucky offensively. They're going to play small ball. They're going to bunt. They're going to hit and run. They're going to do things that
steal bases.
You're not going to look forward to playing them. Like, people don't like playing them.
But I think you're going to hate playing them this year. I honestly, I wanted to. I just believe in Texas, Mississippi State, LSU. And then you see I have Georgia really high. And that's my kind of outlier.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Yeah, that's kind of my outlier flyer. But, like, if you told me Kentucky wins 20 games this year, I'd be like, yep. Like, I wouldn't flinch at it. So, I love their weekend rotation. And then they got that guy that I talked about last show, right? Jackson Jelks, throwing 100 at the end of the bullpen. So when you have that slam dunk closer with an experienced rotation coming into the year, with a team that likes to steal bags and have that energy of hit and run, and we're like kind of the dirty boys, like, I just think that this is Mangione's team. Like, I think that these are his type of players. And then you got Tyler Bell, right? Bell, their shortstop. That's like their. So when you can build around that guy and you have a superstar, like a true superstar too. It's not just all grainy, gritty guys. Like, you have a true banger that can hit a 3-run homer at the right time. I think that's this team. I really do. So I could see them making a nice, legit run. They're experienced too, right? There's over 800 returning at bats. I just like this team. I think it's a dangerous team. More about the schedule, so I would love to hear what you think about their schedule and how that plays into things, because I think that's, for me, that's going to be the determining factor between 17 and 20-ish or 21 wins, Yeah,
when it comes to their schedule, I'll pull it up now. I will say this. You got to give a lot of credit, Anthony, to Nick Mingione when it comes to, we're now talking about Kentucky baseball.
Yes.
Like, it's a foregone conclusion. Like, yeah, they're going to be a postseason team. They're going to go 16-14, 17-13, what have you in the league. It really, because we used to not, 10 years ago, you didn't talk about Kentucky baseball that way. So the job he's done.
I was just going to say, not this way, at least. Yeah.
Not this way. Not this way. That used to be one of those series you looked at, hey, we should take 2 or 3. If we can get the sweep, let's get it. But now it's a much different challenge. Nothing really of note in the non-conference. They should be able to get off to a pretty hot start. They open SEC play at home against Alabama. They're at Ole Miss. They're at LSU the third weekend, so that will be a challenge. They've got Mizzou at home. They're at Auburn, Vandy at home, at South Carolina, Tennessee at home, at Florida, and then Arkansas at home. So that last 3 of Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas, pretty tough. But
it's kind of a tough schedule,
I think it's manageable. I
think
it's a schedule they could navigate a 16-14, 17-13. I don't think
I
I'd
agree.
expect them to hit the 20 win mark.
Yeah, 20
They
is going to
probably
be tough
need
with
some
that
teams.
schedule. Yeah.
Now, if Arkansas finishes 8th, like you have them, or Florida finishes 12th, they very well might go win 20
I'm telling
games
you,
because that means
those are my thoughts. Yeah.
yeah, they very well could do that. So, yeah, I think the schedule sets up well. Again, there's no such thing as an easy schedule in this league, but I think it does set up well. Again, you and I both, I think Kentucky's a host this year. I do. I think Kentucky's it's so easy to sleep on them. It's so easy to disregard them because you don't think about baseball, but you better because
if there was
they're good.
if there was a lock this year, that's Kentucky to host. Like if I could go place a preseason bet, that would be one that I would lock.
I like it. Kentucky to host is a lock. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Let's jump to the Georgia pick because you do have them in your top 5. I've got them 7. I don't think there's a whole lot of. I think that's something that folks have to keep in mind when we drop this graphic inevitably on social media or those tuned in live or listening via podcast. When we're making these picks, I mean, teams, really all of them, but especially teams like 4 through 13 are probably separated by like 3 games.
Yeah,
4
exactly.
games maybe. So these are very, like, if you have Georgia 4, I got them 7. There ain't a whole lot of difference. Probably a game or 2 maybe.
Right.
But you got Georgia in your top 5, Anthony. What makes you like Georgia so much? I will say for me, I wanted to put Georgia higher. They're going to smash. They're going to hit the hell out of the baseball. I need to see them pitch consistently. And what do you like? I'm assuming you think it's going to click under Wes Johnson this year.
Yes, and that's what I'm banking on. That's why I have them number 4. I think Wes Johnson is one of the best pitching guys out there in developing talent. And so when you develop the talent, then it's just about the execution, right? So I think he's going to get them to that point. They have 22 transfers. That's crazy. So
they're transfer portal you at this point in college baseball. I mean, they live and die with the portal, but they essentially live every year with it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think he's going to do a good job. I like a couple of his transfers. The one that I'm looking at that I think could be a big jump out name is a guy named Joey Valco. I don't know if you know that name, but he's a Stanford grad. Yeah. Yep. So I'm looking at him to make a big jump this year in the starting rotation. And then they got that guy, Kenny Ishikawa from Michigan. Yeah. So he's a Golden Spice guy. He'll be a 2-way guy for them. And out of their fall reports, people were loving him. So those are the kind of things that I think if Wes can do that kind of stuff, they're going to mash, they're going to hit, they're going to score runs. So I think if their weekend rotation can have some of that player development that Wes Johnson is known for, and if they can develop a dude or two to be able to go 6-7 innings, right? And then if you have those big leads, then you can find some bullpen pieces to finish off those games for you. And I think Wes, I keep saying Jay, but I think Wes is going to do that. I think this is the year for him.
If those arms that they got can take a big jump, because they did get a couple of portal arms. The only thing scary about that, like you mentioned the Stanford guy, those guys didn't put up great numbers at their previous stops. So I'm like, are you going to get better coming into the SEC? But on that same note, Wes Johnson, you've done a hell of a job at Georgia. You're winning baseball games at a place that, let's call it for what it is. Georgia's not a baseball school. As mind-boggling as it is, Georgia, I feel like baseball's always kind of been like the nice to have, not the need to have, Anthony, if that makes sense. Like,
no, yeah, absolutely.
They appreciate when they're good at baseball, and there certainly are Georgia baseball fans, but like they'd never sacrifice football success for baseball, right? Like football is king at Georgia. There's no, and that's totally fine. But it's also maddening. It's like when you think about the amount of talent that comes from Georgia, you're like, this just doesn't make any sense. This is the year for Wes Johnson. Wes, this is your year. Like, we need to see you start working some magic with some pitchers. I mean,
I think he does. I think this is the year. I think he develops those guys. Yeah, I think he does. He's a pro ball guy. Think about that. When he went to LSU, he left the Twins. They were in first place. He developed. Go look at his staff and the people that he developed in the major leagues too. So, Nolan Cain has said for years, that Wes is one of the best pitcher development guys and getting the most out of guys, right? So I think that's what we're going to see this year. And again, when you bring in 22 guys, it's almost like the venture capital play, right? Like you're like, yeah, we're going to throw some checks at like 20 different companies and hope one of them hits, right? So if they bring in 22 transfers, if they get 3 or 4 of them to hit, like, and they can turn those guys into dudes, like I like their chances.
They're going to be a fun team to watch because you know they're going to score double-digit runs a game, essentially.
Yeah, well, it's easy when you got 300 down the lines and fly balls go out.
Yeah, see, it's funny. Foley Field doesn't get the same attention that Lindsey Nelson Stadium does, but it's damn near the same place. I mean, it's pretty close. Yeah, you know, opening day is here when we're getting deep into ballpark chatter. Hey, if you think you've seen social media at its finest, being a part of this show to this point, Anthony, tweet something about Lindsey Nelson Stadium or say something on air about it, and boy, watch the world burn. Watch it burn.
You got to give me the fighting word so I can start.
Vol Twitter. Boy, there's nothing they love more than chatter about their ballpark. Where do we want to jump next here? Let's jump to Tennessee and A&M. See, this is how you know that Tony Vitello, is no longer in the league. It's taken us 45 minutes to even mention Tennessee. Them. No more Tony Vitello.
Yep.
I have them finishing 10th. And again, the reason I say Tennessee and A&M, because those two SEC teams, of course, played in the 2024 finals. So it only feels right. Also very intriguing, both going in the season. I've got Tennessee finishing 10th. Now, I think that's a step back. You've got them finishing 13th. You've been on some savage shit, by the way, Anthony, because I saw the comment you left when we dropped our Omaha 8, and that Tennessee fan says, "Where's Tennessee?" And you replied and said, "They're going to be watching from the couch." I was like, damn. Let them know.
What was my comment again? You cut out. What was it?
It was the comment. It was the comment we dropped our Omaha 8, and somebody commented and says, "Where's Tennessee?" And you said, "Going to be watching from their couch," in a reply.
Yeah.
Like that. I loved that. I love
They are.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. How much of Tennessee taking a step back, how much of it is Tony Vitello not being there? How much of it is Frank Anderson not being there, the pitching coach? How much of it is losing Liam Doyle, Andrew Fisher, Marcus Phillips? Like they also lost a ton. They are still very talented, but Anthony, I give both you and I credit. You know why? Because I think everybody else in the college baseball media is scared shitless to say what we've said about Tennessee, and that is that they take a step back. And I don't even think it's a hot take, but everybody else out there, everybody else in the college baseball media, they're still so talented. I get it. They have talent. But you're also discrediting what Tony Vitello and Frank Anderson meant to that program if you think they just keep it going. And here's a fun fact for you. Dude, they went 16-14 last year with all these guys. So you're telling me they're going to get better without Tony Vitello, without Frank Anderson, without Liam Doyle, without Andrew Fisher, without Hunter Inslee, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't see it, and you certainly don't see it.
No, and honestly, they're hella talented. They have great players, 100%. But again, my list, all comes down to coaching question marks. You have a first-year head coach, right? Also coming in from the conference, right? A rival. So if you don't think that there are going to be some sort of changes within that organization structurally, you're crazy. So there is going to be some sort of disruption within that culture. And I think it just takes a little bit more time to get it on board. I'm not saying that the new coaching staff isn't going to do well there. They just got a great addition to their stadium and upgrades, and there's going to be no shortage in recruiting there. And I think that they're going to get back on track. I just think this year is going to be a transition year. And again, a lot of my teams in this range, right, from I'm really high on Vanderbilt, and I have them 10th on my list. But this is, again, more due to some of the teams that I think are going to have some surprising win totals, right? So Tennessee is just going to have to be one of those teams that loses games this year to some of those teams that I think are going to win more games. So that's my biggest thing. And then I also think, yes, they lost Vitello and their pitching coach, but I'm blanking on his name right now, but they called it like the secret sauce over there, right? The director of sports performance. There was a position created for this guy, and he also left to go to the Giants, and Vitello took him. So to me, those are the little things that where Vitello's creating his little edges by bringing in and creating, certain positions for guys to give them that analytical edge, or player performance edge, whatever it is, right? That guy leaving, I think, is a big deal too.
Side note on the Giants, Anthony, because you probably played with him or against him. Did you see Jesse Chavez is on the Giants staff?
No, really?
Yeah, you think he's going to pull a Phillip Rivers late in September and come pitch a few innings for the Giants?
If they need it, why not? Right, dude.
Yeah,
He's still
Jesse
like, that's so
Chavez, the
crazy.
former Atlanta Brave, is on Tony Vitello's
He
staff.
was like on like 15 teams. He's been
Dude,
on,
hilarious story. Again, total side note. So I moved to Nashville in May of last year, and I go to a game, Nashville Sounds. They're AAA for the Brewers.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're playing the Braves affiliate. I think it's, who is that, Rome? Is that the AAA?
Yeah, it would have been or maybe,
Gwinnett, maybe? Gwinnett?
Gwinnett.
Whoever
it would
the
have
hell.
been Gwinnett, yeah.
Dude, Jesse Chavez is pitching. I'm like, what the like,
journeyman. He didn't give a shit.
Dude,
he was like,
the
I'm
ultimate,
in AAA.
the ultimate journeyman. Anyways, he's coaching now. Funny enough, side note. Cool. I saw that on the graphic that a Giants dropped. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, I think all valid points. I think Tennessee, if you tell me they finished 13th, I'm not shocked. I think they're going to take a step back. Maybe Tony left the situation so well that Tennessee just keeps it rolling.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
think it takes a step back. I think they take a step back. I don't think it's going to be abysmal. I don't think it's going to be abysmal.
Here's the issue. It has to, Anthony. It has to. They're not going to, what have they been to, like 5 straight supers? They're not going to do that again. Like, they're just not. Like, Tony Vitello is why you went to Tennessee.
Absolutely.
I understand he's changed the culture. I don't see much of a reason you go there now.
Yeah,
and I think Elander's a good coach, but dude, there's so many other spots you can go to.
Quick. Yep, he's got to win quick. Where like this generation of kids like doesn't think twice about Tony not being there. You know, it's just like, oh, Tennessee's fun. They have a great stadium. It's a cool place to play. You know, like that's what he's got to win right away. But that's where this year is going to be huge for him.
Speaking of needing to win quick, Anthony, transitioning to Texas A&M. We've got our guy Bo Molinari and some others in the chat.
Yeah,
Texas
I heard some
A&M
feelings
folks
in here
that are very upset. I've got A&M at 11, which I think would actually, I mean, certainly after last year, I was a little higher than on A&M than I expected. And I will admit to you, because you've got Texas A&M 14 just above Mizzou and South Carolina. If I had to pick, if you held a gun to my head and you're like, all right, you have to pick them to finish higher or lower than 11th, I'd pick them to finish lower than 11th. I don't trust Michael Early for anything. The pitching staff scares the living shit out of me. They're going to smash the ball. Gavin Grahovic back. I don't know if you saw the video clip. Anthony, he had a ball 111 mile an hour exit. It was a piss rod over the left field fence. Like, he's back. Gavin Grahovic is going to have a big year. Bear Harrison, obviously, in the lineup. Caden Sorrell is one of the best players in college baseball when he's healthy. They're going to hit at a rate, I think, where they're going to do better than last year. We had Ryan Browninger of Texags on the show a few days ago, and I mean, he echoed it. It's like all of the excitement that you can have about this A&M club, it's hard not to couple it with hesitation and concern after what happened last year. Like, I still don't trust Michael Early as a head coach. I just don't. Like, what has so drastically changed from a year ago that all of a sudden he's going to just fix his ways and make the correct decisions? The pitching staff's a concern. I don't know how you can look at this ball. And there could be some things that come together, and Weston Moss could be a dude, and they could have some questions answered positively. But I don't blame you, and I don't blame me. We have to see it, man. Like, after last year, dude, if any other ball club lost all 3 of their starters, like, that's what happened with A&M. They lost Prager, they lost Lampkin, and they lost I'm blanking on the third guy for whatever reason. Anyways, they lost the entire starting rotation. You got a lot to prove. I think they'll be better than last year. I think this is a team that will get into the postseason. I don't know, Anthony, if you'd agree. I think even if they finish 14th, they could get in the postseason, because I think there's a good chance we have 14 SEC teams that make the postseason, which sounds crazy, but I do think it's possible. But, yeah, A&M scares the hell out of me. 11's almost a play where, like, I don't really know how to – I think it'd be –
I feel better at 11, honestly. I really do. Like, I have them 14, but that was, again, going back to – I'm harsh on the coaching. That's, like, I keep repeating it, but it's like yeah, I'm probably a little hyperbolic with my picks a little bit on that, like, but I just have such a question mark. Like you said early, like, dude, you were handed a winning organization, and that's what you did last year. Like, so yeah, I have a huge question mark. I gotta see it. And the cards that he's dealt with the pitching rotation right now, you better mash, you better score 10 runs a game. Like, so I don't know. Yeah, that's what it is for me. I want Texas A&M to be good. When they're good, the SEC is like it matters a lot when Texas A&M is good. It balances out Texas, and like I want them to be good, and I agree. I think that easily there could be 14 teams um, going to the postseason this year from this conference. So again, they are at the bottom for me because of other teams needing to win games in my order here. But I do have a ton of questions for this team, and more the leadership.
Yeah, a lot of question marks for A&M. I know our guy Beaumont Ari is not
I know, I
pleased.
heard his
Listen,
feelings.
if some questions are answered on the mound, I think they could finish higher. But I don't think you can blame anyone after last year for having skepticism. Again, I'll defend my pick. 11, I think you're fighting for you're about a 15-15 ball club. You're fighting for that, which after last year, the disaster that was, you went 11-19 in conference play, and hell, that was going on a surge in a year. If you can be right around that 500 mark, you're a pretty solid ball club. Now, what does it look like beyond that? What does Michael Early and A&M need to do to feel good about going into 2027? Because I don't think they're an Omaha club. Do they need to host? Do they need to make a super? That's another conversation for another day. But
I think it's how they play. Honestly, I think it's the product that they put out in the field too, like the display.
I think I agree
like,
with you, Anthony. I think with Early, you're going to be able to tell. Record be damned. The way it looks, I think, is going to tell you everything. I really like how not just are you winning or losing, how are you winning or losing? How are you losing, especially? How are you losing, especially? I think it's going to be clear to all of us that know the game. Hey, that first year was an outlier, and they've obviously got it, or it's going to be like, oh, it's more of the same. This is obviously going nowhere. I think it's going to be very clear cut to us. There's some middle of the pack teams, Anthony, I want to highlight here. I'm going to kind of bunch them up, but the likes of, for both you and I, Auburn, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma. Those are kind of like, those four are kind of like, what do I do with you? That's how I feel with those teams. Like, what do I do with you? What are you? Auburn's one that's got a lot of hype. You've got them 7. I've got them 8. I'm a little bit higher on Ole Miss than most. Listen, I know their schedule's a gauntlet. Here's what I'll say about Ole Miss. Love Hunter Elliott in the Friday night role. I think they're going to smash yet again. They're going to hit. Mike Bianco's still one of the best coaches in the SEC. And I think with their schedule, because right now, Anthony, they've got 10 teams on their schedule. I think all 10 are projected to make a regional. Like, their schedule's crazy. It is. Yeah. But is every team on their schedule going to live up to that hype? That's kind of where I look at, and I'm like, okay. Like, I think we're going to get about halfway through the year, and it's like, hey, it's still really tough, but I don't know if it's the hardest schedule in, SEC baseball history. That might be a little much. But I'm a little bit higher on them. I've got them 9. You've got them 11. Again, Alabama, you're way higher than me. You've got them 6. Yeah. I've got them 12. That does admittedly feel low for me. Vandy, I've got 13. You've got 10. And then Oklahoma, I've got 14. You've actually got Oklahoma finishing 9th. Of that,
if I could go back, Oklahoma would probably be a little lower as we're breaking this down. And like, I think I would have Vandy a little higher. Yeah.
I know I just grouped all those teams, Anthony, but just for the sake of time and for the sake of the conversation, of that group, which of those teams intrigues you most? What are you intrigued by those clubs? Because again, I think of that group, there's a couple of those that certainly, if you told me one or even two of those finish, say, top 5 or 6 in the league, it wouldn't totally shock me.
Exactly. And that's why I think Auburn has the pitching to do that, right? I think Vanderbilt is really interesting to me. We talked about them, maybe it wasn't last show, maybe the show before, but I think Corbin has some answers, to be
5 straight years losing in their own regional. And they also moved the fences in right field about 15 feet. So,
yep. So I think there's some things Vanderbilt could jump out to me this year. And they have a transfer from Georgia that I thought was really interesting named Nate Taylor. So I want to see his development, but he had 8 innings at Georgia last year and had 17 Ks, which is, 2 an inning basically. And then he went to the Cape and he had the same K percentage in the Cape and he led the Cape in K percentage. So that kind of kid at Vandy to me, sounds like he could turn into an ace and somebody that could miss some bats, but I want to know why he transferred, why he only pitched, 8 innings at Georgia. So obviously some question marks, but I think Vanderbilt has like the helium to do something again that they could make a run in the regular season. Now, obviously, like I said, the postseason has question marks for me. So that's why, they're where they're at for me. But I also love Justin LeBron a lot too. I think we have the number 1 overall player in him. So I think Alabama surprises some people. They did really well in the draft and they survived some guys and got some guys to campus. Same with the portal, and they have some interesting transfer pieces. I like their coach and what he's doing over there. So I like Alabama's energy, and I think when you have the number 1 overall pick, and I genuinely believe he's going to be the number 1 overall pick this year over the UCLA kid. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. And like I said, Oklahoma, I think obviously losing Witherspoon is going to be a big blow for them, but Skip does a good job over there, and I think they'll have a good program. But I would probably put them a little lower looking back on it now, and Vanderbilt a little higher. Ole Miss has some question marks for me still that I just got to go see them play, and then time will kind of tell with those guys from me.
Here's the tough thing, Anthony. I know I can speak for you when I say this. I mean, 14 through 10 or 9 or wherever you want to stop that. Here's the deal. These are not bad teams, but somebody in the league's got to lose some games, right? Like, not everybody can go 15 to 15. Not everybody can go 16 to 14. Like, somebody has got to take lumps. I'll admit I feel icky having Vandy at 13. I feel like it's too low. I admire and respect Tim Corbin, and I love Brody Johnston swinging it. They've oh man, and dude, they were the number 1 overall national seed last year. Like, that's so crazy to think about. I got to see him swing it more consistently, and now they've got questions on the mound. I think Connor Fennell. Is he going to be their Friday guy? Like, how does he factor in? Like, it's almost like Arkansas. Vandy, they're going to pitch. Are they going to complement that with enough offense? I think it was last year, Anthony, they finished like outside of the top 200 in most offensive categories. Like,
holy shit.
And they still were the number 1.
We're the number 1. Yeah.
Like really factor in what they did last year.
Holy
Bama, shit. I will say this, not to be overly harsh, but take it as you may. I love Justin LeBron. He's a stud. I don't disagree with you. If he's not the number 1 pick, he's certainly a top 5 pick, could certainly win the Golden Spikes. Any pitching staff, again, please just bear with me. Any pitching staff that starts the conversation with Zane Adams and Tyler Fay, I'm concerned. I'm sorry. I'm concerned. I watched Zane Adams get lit up all season last year. Tyler Fay was he pitched in their Friday role and he was solid, but I don't look at him as like a frontline Friday guy. If they can answer questions in the starting rotation, I'd have them much higher. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get anybody out. That's my problem. Auburn, I've probably got too low. I could see them being a top 5 team. The question for them, again, do they have that bona fide stud on Friday night? They really haven't had that guy since like Casey Mize. It's been quite a while for them since they had that true, just dominant number 1. The lineup is stacked.
Yeah. Who is penciled in for their Friday night guy though this year? Do you know?
Oh, dude, it's.
I thought I had it down. They were talking about him as potentially being a stud.
It is. I can tell you in literally like 2 seconds. Their Friday. I'm not getting off this till we get this figured out. It is. Let's see. Anybody want to take anybody in the comments could tell us.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
that'd be great. Their Friday night guy is. I'm getting it pulled up now.
Okay.
Let's see.
Chat's talking about Derek Curriel adding some weight, and
I have heard he's bulked up a little bit.
Well, dude, I saw that his exit velo average, it was way higher than I thought, and he was with the big boys on their team, and I was like, damn, that's interesting. Like it genuinely took me by surprise because for me, he's more of bat to ball guy and like a little bit of gap to gap. But I was very surprised with his exit velo numbers, which really encouraging.
I saw the Zach York kid, his exit velo.
Stupid. Yeah, that's stupid.
Griffin Graves was the name we were looking for.
Yep.
Junior lefty. He threw 23 and a third innings last year, 4-1 with a 4.63 ERA. Jake Marciano from Virginia Tech is their projected number 2. Over 60 innings last year, 4-2 with a 6.08 ERA. Andres Alvarez, sophomore righty, projected number 3 guy, 3-1 with a 5.27, 41 innings pitched a season ago. So, I mean, the big question,
those are question marks. Yeah,
is Griffin Graves going to live up and be that top guy? Yeah, Ole Miss is another one I already talked about, Anthony. I think they're one. They feel like a very typical middle of the pack SEC team. If I had to pick them to go one way or another, I'd probably pick them lower than 9th. But there's some teams I actually have. I think when you have a guy like Hunter Elliott, you got a pretty good foundation. You're probably going to get off to a pretty good start every single weekend in SEC play. And then Oklahoma. Listen, I even texted a buddy of mine that I had on to preview Oklahoma. I hate having them that low because I think the world of Skip Johnson. I think he's one of the best coaches in the SEC, certainly as underrated as anybody. But again, somebody has to lose games. And I think that, and I promise we're going to get into the last two here in a moment, but Oklahoma is just one, man. They just have questions everywhere. If you told me Oklahoma overachieved, I will not be surprised in the slightest. But I'm like, I felt like I had to put somebody 14, and it just happened to be them. Listen, again,
that's the way I felt about A&M too. Yeah.
Hey, I think Oklahoma at 14 could still make the postseason. If you get to 13 and 17 in league play, the committee and their schedule's a gauntlet. I think Oklahoma at 13 and 17 in league play, if they can win a game in Hoover, I think they're in. I think because
that's the way I was feeling about Texas A&M at my 14 also. It's like I could see, like I really do think 1 through 14 could be postseason teams. Yep.
Yeah. Anthony, finally, do we want to spend any time on 15 and 16? We both have the same picks. We've got the South Carolina Gamecocks at 15, the Missouri Tigers at number 16. Anthony, I don't know if you saw it. I tweeted over the weekend. I got a wild hair in my ass. I don't know what happened. I was like, bear with me for a second. What if this is the season that Mizzou makes the postseason? What if? Just humor me. What if? It's not going to happen, but what if?
I don't even know what if. Like I don't know that scenario. Like I'm like, I literally just started thinking about it. I'm like, it doesn't seem right.
Fun fact, Anthony. I don't know if you even knew this. They have not made the postseason since they joined the SEC in 2012.
It's so sad. Why did they? They shouldn't have joined. It was just bad.
They have not made. They were not a bad baseball program. I feel like in the Big 12. I don't know.
I agree. They shouldn't. That's why they shouldn't have switched because they were respectable. They were respectable, but now they're just like,
It's different when you're competing against Kansas and Kansas State and some of those others for recruits versus who you're competing with now. I think I will say this really briefly on these two. Missouri. Believe it or not, I think it's an important year for Carrick Jackson because at some point, listen, does he get the resources necessary to win at a high level there? I don't think so. I don't think Mizzou. Look at Taylor Stadium. I mean, they don't. Dude, I'll tell you this. Fun story. We were on the way to Omaha last summer, and from Nashville to Omaha, yes, we drove. Como is literally you pass it. So we stopped by Como, went to Taylor Stadium because I had never seen it. So we stop and we go. It's like middle of the day, and there's this dude who's working there essentially like, watching over the stadium or what have you. And it's this older guy, and we start talking to him about Mizzou and everything. And he literally, the way he put it was, Missouri baseball is the redheaded stepchild of the athletic department.
Oh, no.
And that's a guy that works for Mizzou.
Yeah, even there.
Loves Mizzou, but even he could admit it, So, but I do think it's an important year, Anthony, for Carrick Jackson because, brother, I don't care what you got going against you. You can't go 3-27 in the league every year and have a job. Like,
no.
I wonder, does he get fired first or does he leave first? Because at some point, you probably have to think to yourself, hey, like, I'm in a no-win spot. Like, I'm in the SEC, but, like, I'm just getting my brains beaten every weekend. So I don't think Mizzou at 16 is a very controversial pick by either you and I. And South Carolina at 15, your boy Paul Maneri down here. Here's the issue. They revamped their club in the transfer portal. But then you go and lose your ace to injury, Jake McCoy.
I know.
You're already behind the 8 ball. Then you lose your ace. Now Alex Philpott reportedly or rumored or whatever is hurt. Now your shortstop is rumored to be hurt in KJ Scobie. Anthony, I'm going to say this. I love you to death. Paul Maneri was a great head coach in 2009. I have my doubts in 2026. I just don't like – and again, he was given a tough situation, and it's a shame because I would love to see South Carolina baseball return to some sort of relevancy. I mean, again, for you, like when you played, if somebody would have told you, hey, just so in a decade, this is what South Carolina baseball is going to be, you've probably been like, bro, there's no way.
No shot.
Like, there's no shot. Like, at the Founders Park opened up when the new box did. Like, that program looked like it was on a rocket ship to stay up there. And to where they've fallen is just hard to believe, but
it really is. I mean, and it's sad for Paul. Like it just, I hate it for Paul and some of his staff, but it is what it is, and he's got his situation over there
too. Old Terry,
I know Rooney's over there. Yep.
Yeah.
So again, we'll see. Like the portal, you never know what happens, and but yeah, the injury bug is obviously really crushing him right now too. So. It's going to be, it doesn't look good for Paul. So I'm a little nervous, but you never know. Like I said, he was he was the best coach that I played for, and I have a great relationship. So obviously I'm biased, but he finds ways to do stuff, right? And he gets the most out of kids. And that's what I said all the time about him at LSU. He was a great coach because he knew players really well, and he got them to perform in bigger than ways than they probably could have, honestly. So if he's got some of his magic up his sleeve this year, maybe they don't finish 14. But yeah, when they lost their Friday guy, I was thinking about sneaking them into 14 and putting Texas A&M below them out of some love for Maneri. But no, I had to keep them kind of in the bottom basement with Mizzou, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you never know with the portal. You're right, Anthony. They added so many guys via the portal that, again, who knows? They might click and they might overachieve. Right. I think making the postseason after the season they had last year, which it was a historically bad year. I think they went like 8-22. I think that would be a positive step for them, a step in the right direction to get to the postseason. I mean, you got to take it one step at a time. I know it's a very proud program, and they're not going to love to hear that, to say, hey, it's a good season if we're a 2 or 3 seed in a regional. But, when you factor in what they did last year and you lost your ace, you're right. Paul Maneri is going to have to work a little bit of magic to get that team competing at near 500. He's going to have to. So, Anthony, we're going to move on here because, again, we've got Golden Spikes to get into and some other things. Really quickly before we do, though, fun exercise for you. You can make a change right now. One team in your bottom 8 that you'd feel most confident putting in your top 8, and one team in your top 8 that you'd feel most confident putting in your bottom 8. If you had to project how they'll finish. Like, is there a team in the top 8 you had the most doubts about? Is there a team in the bottom 8 you felt like you severely underrated and they could be a top 8 team?
Yeah, I think for me, Bama would probably be that slippery slope. I think they either click and they have a great year, or it could be slippery slope. And then I think, like we said earlier, either Florida or probably Florida for me is like the helium spot where I agree they could click and be in the top 3 for me. Vanderbilt's probably another one for me that could be in the top 8 probably as well.
Yeah, Anthony, and I like both of those selections. My bottom 8 is, I'm going to say Vandy just because I trust Corbs. I feel very icky having them that low. Yeah. I have a lot of questions about them, but they just, they showed it last year. They just find ways to win. Brody Johnston, by the way, is a hell of a ball player. So I think he can lead them offensively. And I think if anybody's going to answer questions on the mound, it's Tim Corbin and his staff. Like they got arms. Top 8 finishing in the bottom 8. This one's tough. I'm gonna go with Georgia. I'm going to go with Georgia.
I
like,
can see it. Yeah.
You got to listen. You can't
see
do
that
what
too.
you did last year, which is they couldn't get a starter past the third inning. And they cheated death on a weekly basis. Anthony, you obviously missed this. I at one point called Georgia the most overrated team in college baseball. They were ranked third in the country. And I was like, they are the most overrated team in the country because they couldn't pitch.
Yeah, they couldn't.
Like,
Yeah,
you
it was
can't
bad.
keep you can't slug your way to Omaha. You gotta pitch. You have to. You just have to. If you told me Georgia finished ninth or worse, I wouldn't be stunned because it's like at some point, man, great pitching is going to beat great hitting. And if you can't do if you don't have guys on the mound, it's going to be a rocky. And I'm not saying that'd be them falling off a cliff, but you're going to have a rocky season. So I'll go Georgia at 7. The rest I feel pretty good about. I think that are going to be in the top 8. So, guys, those are our official selections for our predicted order of finish. Would love to hear your thoughts where you have each team finishing in the league in 2026. Guys, with that being said, we're going to keep it moving. We're going to talk some golden spikes here. Before we do, though, I want to tell you about our friends over at Underdog, because as always, we're brought to you by our friends at Underdog. Guys, fast breaks, buzzer beaters, block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get into all of the action. Playing on Underdog is super easy. Just pick whether your favorite players are going to go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get your picks right, and you go into 5,000 times your cash. Download the app today. Use promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code SECU. Again, we're going to be all over this for March Madness as it approaches, because football is officially in the rear view. Baseball, March Madness, spring sports are taking center stage. So once again, promo code SECU over Underdog. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 and up, 19 up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 up in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit ncpgambling.org, 1-800-NEXT-STEP, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY. All right. That being said, Anthony, we got a fun conversation upcoming. We haven't discussed this yet. This came out over the weekend. Golden Spikes Award watch list dropped over the past few days. And as you would expect, there were 16 SEC ball players that made the cut here. A lot of different SEC guys have a great shot of winning this award. There's tons of others as well. I mean, I could go through the entire list, but so many guys, as you can imagine, made this preseason award watch list. Anthony, I simply just want to get your thoughts on it, your reactions, and maybe some of your favorites. If we had bets, some guys that you would be willing to sprinkle some coin on or place some bets on to win the award. The 16 ball players are as follows. We've got Kentucky's Tyler Bell, LSU's Derek Curiel, Ole Miss's Hunter Elliott, LSU's Kason Evans, Tennessee's Henry Ford, Arkansas's Gabe Gackle, Texas A&M's Chris Hakopian, Arkansas's Ryan Helfrich, Florida's Aiden King, Florida's Liam Peterson, Alabama's Justin LeBron, Ace Reese's Mississippi State, Auburn's Chris Rimbert, Texas A&M's Caden Sorrell, Texas's Dylan Volantis, and who does Carson Tenney play for again? Is that Arkansas? Who does Carson Tenney play for? Am I crazy for not knowing
I'll
this?
look it up.
I think he's a new guy.
Let's see.
I saw the name. I'm like, wait a minute. Who's Carson Tenney with? Carson Tenney is with Texas. Yes, I apologize for that. Texas is Carson Tenney. So, of that list, Anthony, any surprises, any thoughts, any guys that you feel like were left off? And where does your mind go when it comes to Golden Spikes and favorites? I think you've already made it very clear. A guy like Justin LeBron is not a bad bet for this.
Yeah, that's my guy. So I've watched him play a little bit. And for some reason, I kind of fell in love with his game last year. I know he started off the season a lot better than what he finished and everything, and had a great start. But actually, his freshman year is when I first started watching him. And somebody had mentioned that he could be a 1-1 guy in 3 years. So I was like, and I really paid attention to that and watched his defensive play, watched his leadership, and read some interviews from his coach too. So I'm high on Justin LeBron this year. I think he's going to be an impact player at the major league level. I think that if you watch him play from a 5-tool perspective, He's that guy for me. So if everything clicks for him this year, and if Bama has the year that I kind of projected them to have or predicted them to have, I could see him being that guy for me.
Yeah, I think Justin LeBron is a really, really good pick. Just yeah, and you think about the way he started last year, Anthony. I think he had like 12 or 13 home runs in like 15 games.
It was
Cooled off a
something
little.
silly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. He cooled off a little bit, obviously, in SEC play, which, I mean, again, you're facing the best arms in the country. If he can keep it going in the SEC, I think certainly he's a guy, very marketable, last name LeBron, like been around a while. You know, this is more of an upperclassman award, so I think that he's certainly got a great shot. I'll tell you this, Anthony, I don't like any of the pitchers. Here's the issue. It's not that I don't like them. Brother, Paul Skeens didn't win this award.
That's what I mean. It's so hard for a pitcher.
This is a hitter's award. This is a hitter. Like, you have to put up the stupidest numbers.
But then you don't, because Paul Skeens did that. Like, I was like, if he doesn't win the Golden Spikes, like, who's going to win that?
Yeah,
like,
and of course
did Strasburg win it? I'm assuming he won
Strasburg did win it. Strasburg won it. Kevin Kopps won it at Arkansas. Like, it can be done, but I mean, when guys like Paul Skeens when Paul Skeens and Hagen Smith aren't winning it, it just, I mean, you got to put up outrageous. And like you said, Paul Skeens did. He, of course, lost to his teammate, Dylan Cruz, which, I mean, whatever.
But and that's what I'm like. But I do think it's a position player award because, you know, I mean, the Golden Spikes kind of implies like somebody's out there every day, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, a guy that's taking the ball on Friday nights.
I heard somebody saying college baseball should have like their own version of the Cy Young. We should stop making it, because there's the Golden Spikes and then there's like the player of the year, which can go to whoever. I like LeBron. I like Ace Reese at Mississippi State.
Ooh, I like that pick a lot too.
Yeah, he's a baller. I think Ace Reese is a really good pick. I'd probably sprinkle a little bit on him. Derek Curiel, bro. How about your boy Derek Curiel?
I like Curiel. I think
will Curiel have the power numbers?
That's what I think. And I think he's got to steal more bags. You're probably going to hit
20 bombs at least to be in the convo.
And I think he's got to steal more bags knowing the player he is. Like, I think he's got to have 20 bags, 20 bombs. And if he does 20 bags, 20 bombs, 20 doubles, I think we're in that mix. And if LSU does what they're supposed to do. But I saw Kendall Rogers tweeted the other day when this came out on Caesars that I think it was like plus 18,000 for who's the kid from A&M that you mentioned?
Chris Hakopian.
No, there was an
you're talking
the guy that you said if he stays healthy.
Caden Sorrell.
Yeah, Sorrell.
Yeah,
he was talking about him being like, hey, I can't believe his odds are that crazy. You know, like if he puts it together, he could have a Golden Spikes year. So I might look at that guy a little bit because I respect Kendall a lot.
Yeah. No, I like that one too.
Ooh, Henry Ford at UT. I like that play too.
Henry Ford's going to hit a zillion bombs because he's playing with Lindsey Nelson.
I like that play a lot for Golden Spikes, actually.
I'll tell you this. He's not even on the preseason award watch list, but Gavin Grahovic back healthy. I'm telling you.
He's not on the awards watch list?
I do not, unless I missed him. I do not believe so.
Yeah, that's a shame. He could definitely be a dude that hits 30 home runs this year.
Yeah. Obviously, there's some guys that you would very much so expect on this list. I'm just going through Drew Burris from Georgia Tech, Rock Chalowski from UCLA. Yep. That one's very Daniel Cuvée from Miami. It'll be very fun to watch. You got Cameron Flukie from Coastal Carolina. But again, Cam Flukie, as good as he is, I just don't think they're going to win. AJ Grassi at Virginia, dude. Gavin Gallagher at North Carolina, dude. I mean, all the Aiden Canuck at Clemson, a lot of notables on here from other conferences, but
no Grahovic.
Yeah, that'd be kind of a fun. Who wins the Golden Spikes, SEC or the field? That
would be cool.
It's tough to say. Because we've got. I mean, the preseason watch list really doesn't mean shit when it comes to the race. No. It's just more so highlighting some guys that are going to be in contention. But
it's literally giving love to guys that performed well last year and did well over the summer that we didn't really expect, and you're just giving them love. That's really all it is. It's like everybody's still got to stay healthy. Everybody's still got to go perform. This is a bunch of bullshit. It's we're just basically regurgitating who we think are going to have the best year based on stats last year.
Anthony, did you know, by the way, and shout out our friends. I meant to do this earlier. I apologize. Shout out Matt, Brandon, the entire Chinook Seedery team, because it is the Golden Spikes presented by Chinook Seedery and USA Baseballs. They're right there with that.
Go.
So yeah, it's shout out to Chinook. They play a major role in the Golden Spikes, a massive role in the Golden Spikes. So shout out to them. Did you know this about the Golden Spikes, Anthony? It's not like it's the award is not. It goes to the best player in like SEC baseball or college baseball. It goes to the best amateur baseball player.
Yeah,
so
I saw
a guy in
high schoolers.
So for example, on the watch list, there is a guy on the watch list from Division II Lenoir-Rhyne out of the SAC, which was the conference that I played in. There's a Division II guy on this award watch list.
Wow.
How about that?
What are his numbers?
It doesn't have to be D1. Like, dude, you can be.
No, I knew that because I think Harper won it when he was a JUCO guy.
Yeah.
And
it's just the best amateur college baseball or best amateur baseball player.
Yep, exactly. There's high school kids on there.
Yeah. I mean, crazy.
What does that kid have to do in D2 to?
Dude, probably hit like 45 jacks.
Yeah, 45.
He's probably got to hit like, so he's an outfielder. So he's probably got to hit like 50 bombs. Like it'd have to be something so outrageous that you're like, we got to give this kid the award.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got to hit like 450 with 50 homers and 150 RBIs. Yeah, like something silly.
All right, guys, on that note, we're going to get out of here. This has been a really fun show. We're going to take a few of your questions and comments before we do so. Obviously, want to hear from you all. I do want to highlight this. Our guy Bo just threw this out there. Grahovic moved to first base. If he's going to get dinged, it should be in the field, not at the plate. I didn't know Gavin had moved to first base. That's a very good point and interesting to say the least. Max says SEC, they'll give it to the conference that cares. I mean, I think it definitely helps. If you're doing it at a high level, at the highest level, then, I totally understand. Our guy Chinook, I'm going to throw this one to you, Anthony. Best moment of your MLB career.
I saw that earlier. That's a good one. That's tough. I think it was Jeter's retirement, actually. So he played his last game at Fenway, and we got to go out there. They did a whole ceremony for him. And so all the players, we all individually walked out there and shook his hand behind second base and gave him a bro hug. And then we all stood in line for the national anthem out there. And then the Red Sox gifted him the number 2 from the Fenway scoreboard as a gift. So that was really cool. And so I got to shake his hand on the field, say congratulations, and that was pretty awesome. And then obviously I got to strike. He was my first out and strikeout. So it was really, sentimental for me too.
Congrats on a great career. Watch this painted fastball on the outside.
I actually whispered in his ear. I was like, "It was a strike, motherfucker."
Yeah, I mean, dude, he obviously didn't agree. But that I meant to tell you, by the way, previous that I don't know what he was arguing. That pitch was 1,000% a strike. But I think what he was saying is, I think what he was saying was, "Hey, you can't give that fucking rookie that call." That's what he was saying.
That's exactly what he said. He said, "Hey, that's a strike, but you can't give that to him.
You can't give it to him. Not to ring me up."
He said, "Do you see that he's wearing number 63?"
I like this question.
He just rang me up on somebody that wears number 63.
Yeah. Now I got this motherfucker telling this story on some podcast. Thanks. Robert says, "What SEC player do y'all think has the most home runs?"
Ooh, that's a good
who's going to be the home run leader? Here's a fun stat. I did hear this from the D1 guys, Anthony. I think 2024, we had 5 guys in college baseball hit 30 or more bombs.
I heard them say that too.
Last year, we had none. So their theory, and I don't think this is that crazy. They think the ball was kind of played with a little bit.
That's crazy.
I mean, 5 guys hitting 30 plus is nutty. That's outrageous.
Yeah.
Again, I'll tell you this though. Anybody who balks at that, Anthony played in the SEC when this was happening. I mean, I played when this was happening. If you don't remember the fucking bats from 2009, 2010, the orange stealth, the white stealth, brother, I mean, you don't know.
We were having 120 exit velos off those.
You don't know fear until you're pitching with guys swinging that shit. You don't know
Dude,
fear.
it was literally like, and it sounded like a wood bat. It was like dunk. And
It
then
was
it
like
just went
boom.
trampoline off the bat. Yeah, crazy.
You had guys like Jackie Bradley Jr. hitting cap shots over
Yeah.
the fence, like
It was
legitimate.
so crazy. It was crazy.
Who leads the SEC in home runs though? It's crazy. I don't think there's like one clear-cut guy.
I
I
know.
think
So I'm like,
LeBron
nobody's really
could,
jumping out.
but I think it could be like a Henry Ford at Tennessee. It could be a
I was gonna
Daniel
say Henry
Jackson
Ford.
at Georgia. Like some of these guys that play in these ballparks that are really conducive to it. Caden Sorrell could certainly do it. Hey, maybe Zach York.
I was thinking Zach York might do it too.
Zach York.
I could see him having like a 30 homer year this year, like honestly, or close to it, So yeah, I like him, honestly. That was gonna be my guess, honestly.
Yeah, I like those. Somebody from Tennessee or Georgia, because they're gonna hit bombs at both places. Gabriel says SEC pitcher with the most strikeouts. It's a good question. It's a really good question. I'm going to go, how about this? I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path. Give me Ben Cleaver at Kentucky.
I knew you were going to say that. I don't know why.
He was the second returning. If I don't go Ben Cleaver, I'm going Liam Peterson to Florida.
I was going to go Liam Peterson, actually.
Yeah,
so
I think that, I mean, to be frank, I think those guys are the 1-2. I'll tell you, if he gets his shit figured out, Anthony, Gabe Gackle at Arkansas. That was
going to be my other one, too.
He's got the
Friday guy. If he's the Friday guy and he's that guy, he's got the shit to do it. So, like, I would say him. Yeah, that's who I'm going with.
Yeah, I like that. Mac wants to know your favorite memory at LSU, or favorite strikeout, actually, not memory. Favorite strikeout. You have favorite strikeout?
Yeah, that's easy.
Really?
Yeah, because in 2009, when we won the national championship, we hosted the regional, but we were the away team. And crazy enough, in that year, I had a great year and pitched a shit ton of innings, but I didn't have a complete game at all. And I pitched 9 innings as the away team, but we won in 10. And in the bottom of the 9th against Baylor, it was 2-2. They're the home team, so if they clip it, they win. They hit a solo homer, the game's over. I struck out the side, had almost a damn near immaculate inning, but I remember the strikeout because I had the guy 0-2 and he just fouled off the pitch, like, to make it a non-immaculate inning. And I just knew, I was like, oh, you're not hitting this one. Like, so I remember getting the ball back and I literally tear up to this day. I remember getting it and like looking around because like in unison, it was like, everybody was like, oh, he tipped this one. But like, we know he's in unison. Everybody just stood up. And I was like, holy shit, I will never forget this moment. And I fucking yanked a nasty ass curveball, strike 3. I did this crazy ass celebration on the mound where like I screamed and like a couple of my boys like still like we like joke about it to this day and stuff. So it was easily like the most memorable one. I struck out that guy to end the bottom of the 9th, top of the 10th. We come up. Austin Nola like punches a little base hit up the middle to make us go up 3-2. Mattiot comes and like closes it out in the bottom of the 10th, and we won our super. So yeah, that was easy. The best strikeout of my career for sure.
Not bad at all. Not bad. My guy Chinook says, my favorite strikeout doesn't compare to that one. So I'm gonna leave mine. I'm gonna leave mine off there. That doesn't quite measure up to that. One last one, we'll get out of here. Of course, we got a lot of LSU folks in here. John, bro, Anthony, who was your favorite teammate? That's a tough question. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Favorite teammate?
My God, favorite teammate? Because favorite's different than best teammate. Like, definitely different.
Right.
Favorite teammate was probably Chad Jones, 100%. Yeah, he was just, I don't know if you remember that name, but he played football in the NFL. He had dreadlocks, and so he came and he pitched in that national championship run with us, and he was a 2-way superstar, but he was salt of the earth, still great friends with him to this day. And he got to play MLB baseball, not in the show, but he played professional baseball, and he played in the NFL. So one of the best athletes I played with, but just a great, funny human from New Orleans, salt of the earth, good dude. So yeah, I would say he was probably my favorite teammate.
Yeah, they're giving you kudos in the comments. Great call. Chad Jones had a nasty slider.
Oh,
Chinook
dude,
said Blake Dean.
Blake Dean, OG. He was one of the best teammates I ever had, like as far as like best players and everything.
Yeah.
And he just got done coaching. He was coaching at UNO for a while.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was there for like maybe 10 years, 8 years, something like that.
How about it? There you go.
Yep.
Anything else, Anthony? Any final words? Again, we've locked in our predicted order to finish. A little Golden Spikes chatter. Obviously, the next time you and I chat on the airwaves, we will be talking.
We're getting ready.
Weekend, my friend.
It'll be the eve.
It's finally here.
It'll be the eve of college opening night. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun, man. We've got that, obviously, guys, every Monday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Central. And then, of course, Friday night spikes. You can expect 8 o'clock Central this Friday night and every Friday night during the college baseball season. We're stoked. We're fired up. We're excited to get it going. Guys, in the meantime, Anthony, as always, I appreciate you. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. And make sure you follow our guy, Anthony Ranaudo, at Anthony_Ranaudo, me at CPhilly19. And again, just stay tuned for all the content bleeding out of the eyeballs, as always. So, on that note, for Anthony Ranaudo, I'm Chris Phillips. This is Glue Guys. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Y'all have a great week. Get ready. Opening weekend is here. We'll talk to you all on Thursday. Cheers.